everyone, Tina here. I hope your day's going wonderful. I'm so glad you're joining me for Try It Out Tuesday. Today we are not trying out anything new. We're actually going to try out something old and beloved. This is my Pie Perfection collection, or a few elements from it. Spellbinders has it back in stock, and so I thought we'd create a card. A yummy card today. You know I love food cards. We're going to be using the Skyview pies. That's this one here. And we're going to be using the Dish It Up. I love my silverware that are in here. We're going to be using that. And then I'm going to adorn my card with a few flowers from the Delicious Decorations. And then I'm also going to take a greeting from the Perfect Pie Sentiments and Fillings. Okay, we're going to jump in and create some pies. This set doesn't look like much. You've probably heard me say that before. But this just packs a lot of punch for what's in here. We're going to start by taking some Portobello cardstock. This is from Spellbinders, and I'm going to take the crust. We're going to make 4 pies, so I'll die cut this out 4 times. I'm also going to take a lattice. We'll cut that out. And then I'm going to make 4 different pies. I'll take this little crust piece, and I'll put this inside the circle, and we will cut this out. And then with this piece, we're going to create some vents for our pie. These are actually half vents, and so what I like to do is take my tape here, and I'm going to put this in the corner so I don't waste any cardstock. I'm going to center it here. I will tack this down, and then I'm going to run this through my die cut machine. And I'll be right back. Okay, I ran this through. I'm going to go ahead and lift this up carefully with that tape. And then this creates a little indentation, a little circle indentation. Let me mark it with a pencil so you can actually see what I'm talking about. Let's grab a pencil. Let's go ahead and mark this. So there is a little indentation where I marked that circle. So what I'm going to do is take this piece once more. Die cut's better if you punch the little pieces out. Okay, now I'm going to take this, and with this circle here, kind of hard to see, with this circle here, I'm going to line it up with that circle that's indented. We will tack it down, and then we'll run this through. Okay, and then we remove it, and then you have that perfect venting flower. I'm going to go ahead and use my eraser and remove that pencil mark, and then I'm going to take my circle die. I'm going to line it up, and then I'll die cut this out. I like to do it this way just because it's, for me, I can make a more centered vent. Otherwise I'd probably get it lopsided. So I'll run this through, and I'm going to do the same thing with the hearts here. Kind of off-centered a little bit, but I think I can still get away with it. I mean, these are perfect. It's just my circle is like kind of off-centered, but for me to get that perfectly centered is probably a 1 in a million shot. Okay, let's go ahead and create our pies. Oh, we need backgrounds. I'm going to bring back my Skyview pies and take the circle. And I wanted a soft card today. With all the holidays, I wanted a little change up from holiday cards. So I'm using the circle, and I'm going to use some yellow cardstock. And I'll cut out 4 backgrounds for my pies with yellow. This is Spellbinders Chamomile. And then I'm also going to take some Peridot cardstock. We're going to go ahead and do our die cutting all at once. Sometimes it's just easier to do all the die cutting at once. Okay, let's take the Delicious Decorations, and I want to take this flower and then this leaf. Let's go ahead and put this back. I'll die cut this out a few times, the leaf. And then I'll take some white cardstock, and I'll die cut out 3 or 4 flowers with that. With the Dish It Up silverware, I'm going to bring in some Spellbinders silver mirror cardstock, or mirror silver cardstock. Let's go ahead and die cut out some silverware. Okay, and then I do want a fancy little border for my card. So I had picked up these borders from Spellbinders. This is the Bunch of Borders die set. I think it's a very versatile die set, but I really like this one here. So we're going to go ahead and die cut that out with white cardstock as well. And this will die cut out just the border. So I'm going to see if I can squeeze it on here. And I'll die cut those out. And I think for the most part, that's it. I am going to do a little bit of embossing. I'm going to bring in a 3D embossing folder. I love the beveled diamonds for my background. Since we have a lot of circles, I think having some squares or diamonds would be perfect. So I'm going to create a background panel with some Glacier cardstock, which is a pale blue. And we'll emboss this after we get done die cutting. All die cut out, now we're going to put it all together. First, what we're going to do is take our background. This is an A2 panel that will fit perfectly on the front of my card, but I want to add the border at the very bottom. So I'm going to bring in my paper trimmer, and we're going to trim, I would say maybe a 1/2 inch off of the very bottom. Let's go ahead and take that off. I'm going to trim it right at one of the embossed marks, just so the pattern is still nice. And I think that's going to work out great. We're going to put this off to the side. I'm going to take my border. Now this is a pretty wide border. I'd say it's about a 1-inch border, but I'm only going to use the 1/2 inch. And I don't know if you can tell here, but there is a line where you can add it here, or you can shorten it. I'm going to shorten it, and we will add some adhesive at the very back, and I want to make sure it's evenly spaced. So we have a little lacy border. I'm going to use my adhesive, and I'm going to tack this down to the front of my card base. I'm going to use my Spellbinders one because I know with embossed areas this works really great. So we will tack this down. I'm going to put this off to the side along with my flowers and my silverware, and we're going to work on some pies. Okay, one of my pies, you can actually see the edges, and that's with the lattice coming through. So I'm going to take one of my backgrounds, and using some yellow ink, I'm using Pink Fresh Studios inks today. This is Sweet Mustard. I'm going to go ahead and add a little color to the edges here. I might need to go a little bit darker. I think this will work out. Just on one of the pies here. Okay, so we have a little ink blend edges there. I'm not going to worry about the other 3 because there's really no point, since for the most part this little pieces are going to be peeking out. Okay, while we have our inks out, I'm going to use espresso. And this is where we're going to ink up our pie crust. This is the fun part. We'll do the top layers first. The nice thing about the grip mat is they don't go nowhere. And I will ink up with some espresso, and we're going to add a little toastiness to the edges of our pie crust. Because actually, in all reality, this is what my pie crust look like. Very uneven. just kidding. Okay. So we're going to put these off to the side, and that's all the ink blending that we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and layer our pies together. The Skyview pies are super fun, and I'm going to use my dot liner for adheringness. We're going to start with the lattice, and all I'm going to do is add adhesive right in the middle. And then we can add our pie crust right over the edges. Okay, now for these, we'll do the same thing. These line up beautifully. Okay, we're going to add the crust to this one. I know I'm probably going to get in the comments about the flavor of the pie, but we're making paper pies, so I can get away with making yellow pies, right? I mean, lemon, we could probably call that a lemon, but I don't know if you'd put a crust over the top, but I like the yellow, so we're going to roll with it. Okay, let's go ahead and take our card base. Now, rather than popping up the pie crust for this card, I'm going to pop up the entire pie. I'm bringing in my foam squares. And I'm going to just put one in the center because I know I'll probably tuck. And my thought is kind of creating a corner filled with pies. Okay, let's go ahead and add our silverware. I kind of want them placed crisscrossed over here on this side. Now we have our little flowers, and we are going to go ahead and pop these up with some foam squares. There's enough room on the reverse side to where you can add it. I'm going to try not to cover up the pie centers, but the lattice we can get away with adding a couple of flowers. And I think that looks good. Now before we go any further, well, before I add my leaves, let's stamp our sentiment. I'm going to use the greeting in my stamp set. This is the Perfect Pie Sentiments and Feelings. I'm going to go ahead and stamp, I only have pies for you. Lovely. I'm going to go ahead and block this off because I think that is so cute. Lovely. Now we're going to add I'm going to use my glue and we're going to add our leaves. Nice thing about the leaves is they're nice fillers and add a little pop of color. And I think I did a little rearranging with the flowers. I think that looks great. Now what we're going to do is take some white twine. I'm going to double it up and I'm going to tie a bow with it. And then we're going to put this in the middle of our silverware. And then I'm going to add the bow just in the center of that flower. You see? Okay, for the rest of the flower centers, I'm going to bring in my Spectrum AB gems. We're going to use the largest ones, and we're going to add them to the center of the daisies here. And then that will finish off my card for today. Some nice soft colors. Thanks for joining me. Have a fabulous day. We'll see you again real soon. Bye-bye.